Aeromexico and Delta have been cooperating very closely since 2017, and currently Delta has a 20% stake in them. With so much involvement in their operations, I was curious how much of the magical Delta touch could be seen throughout my experience from New York down to Sao Paulo. Over the next two videos, I think you're going to honestly be a bit surprised at what Aeromexico has on offer. A few hiccups aside, I certainly was. By the way, if you're ever curious about the price that I paid for this flight, or the equipment that I use on a daily basis while traveling and creating, all of that can be found in the description below. Let me welcome any of you that might be new to the channel. My name is Kevin. I'm here to give you a self-funded and honest look at some of the best, most unique, or simply most popular airlines and hotels in the world, which I've been bringing to you full-time for 5 years now. I'd love for you to know more about how I do things on the channel, so simply scan the QR code or check out one of my hundreds of videos to do so. Let's get into the trip report. A very good morning from Jamaica. Nope, not that one. Jamaica, Queens, which, believe it or not, is where you'll likely be staying if you're looking for a cost-effective transit experience on a layover in New York. I've professed my love for the TWA hotel, but $400 per night for a non-refundable, no-view room at the only hotel at JFK is absolute robbery. My Holiday Inn Express was charming. I can't remember the last time I had to check in through glass, but, you know. Anyway, to JFK we go. Terminal 4 specifically. Terminal 4 used to be loosely known as the International Terminal at JFK, but all of the terminals are international these days, so Terminal 4 is home to Delta, a few SkyTeam compatriots, and anyone else that operates an A380 to the city, and a few other stragglers. For now, Terminal 4 remains the newest and most pleasant terminal experience here at JFK, but with the new Terminals 1 and Terminal 6 under construction, this won't be true for too much longer. Delta, Aeromexico, and KLM share check-in desks, and everything is very well marked. I would just call out a small detail. Some months ago, I booked an Air France flight via Air France from Atlanta. Booked via Air France, but then at check-in, Air France made me do this confusing dance with Delta and different record locator numbers and such. But that's not the case here. It was a straightforward Aeromexico experience. In 2017, Aeromexico and Delta formed a joint cooperation agreement, which is the largest transborder alliance in the countries. Very similar to some of the transatlantic alliances between British Airways and American, or Delta, Air France, KLM, and Virgin. The cooperation with Aeromexico allows them to coordinate network planning, pricing, and the like. Delta had owned a 49% stake in Aeromexico, but this was reduced to 20% through the bankruptcy proceedings of Aeromexico during COVID. In the past few years, Aeromexico has expanded their network to the US drastically. Not only because of the agreement with Delta, but also since 2023, Mexico gained back their FAA Category 1 status. Since then, I count 21 new routes to the US that they've launched, now serving a total of 26 US destinations. My ticket today included access to the Delta Skyclub, which was conveniently located just across from my gate. In line with what I was saying during my US series earlier this year, which feels like a lifetime ago, the US carriers, in some ways, are really stepping up their game for premium passengers. This is a gorgeous lounge, especially when you consider that this is the lesser of the Delta lounges here at JFK, the Delta One lounge being the big daddy of them all. Boarding began a few minutes early, and I have to share with you what may have been the best thing that I've ever heard a gate agent say. This may have been the highlight of my year. The gate crew were very strict about carry-ons, not the weight, but the number of pieces. You get 2 pieces. They didn't really care what they were, but just 2. A duty-free bag is a piece. A garment bag, a piece. A pillow, a piece. You get the picture. They made this announcement around 5 times in the minutes leading up to boarding. I was third in line waiting to board, and the first guy in line clearly had more than 2 pieces. He had a spinner bag, a backpack, a shopping bag, and a small folded garment bag. Boarding began, and the agent pointed this out to him. He refused to acknowledge that he had 4 pieces. They went back and forth for 30 seconds or so, and then from the desk itself, you could hear that same agent who was making the announcements prior. I won't say she was screaming, but she was definitely projecting. Sir, we have eyes, and it may be early, but they are open and we are using them, and they are telling us that you have 4 pieces. You can keep trying to tell us that that's not the case, but it's not going to work. You are not getting on that aircraft with 4 pieces. In that moment, I felt right at home, and I had to write it down. He was pulled aside and we continued to board. I noticed later when he did come on the aircraft, he had 2 pieces. The seats on the 737s are the same that I showed you on the domestic Mexico sectors that I released some months ago. They're the same seat that American uses, but with a couple more features, mainly an in-flight entertainment monitor. For domestic first or narrow-body business class, this is one of my favorite seats, simply for the storage cubby that's next to your hip. Water or juice was passed around for pre-departure beverages, and soon after the safety video began as we pushed back. If you're enjoying the video and would like to support the channel, there are many ways that you could do so. A quick like on the video and subscribe helps videos with the algorithm. You could join my YouTube channel memberships to get early access to some videos and access to all of my community posts. Or you could check out my Patreon, where I post the most, and can help you out with any travel-related questions. Whatever you do, thanks for doing it. Aeromexico allows you to pre-order your meal choice online prior to the flight. I ordered the frittata, and this was confirmed by the very friendly crew taking care of us. For the in-flight comforts, there was a small pillow with their refreshed Eagle Knight logo mark, inspired by the ancient Aztec warrior class known for having feathered attire. The blanket, I'm surprised, did not have a warning tag to not use near an open flame. My point being, it was very artificial, scratchy, and staticky. The meal service began, and the crew came over and sincerely apologized that my meal hadn't actually been loaded for some reason. So the choices were an omelet or French toast. An egg for an egg swap, I went with the omelet. It was a plain omelet, but was actually really good. Not dry or rubbery, served with asparagus and sausage. On the side, we had some sliced fruit, a selection of breads, and a yogurt. Overall, it was a perfectly fine meal for this morning flight. Let's go for an 8.2 out of 10. Entertainment on board is pretty good, with a large selection of movies and a beautiful interactive moving map. I'd also say that I appreciate the monitor being on the bulkhead. I much prefer that, compared to having it come out between the two seats in the first row. Headphones were also available, a decent pair of noise-canceling ones. Overall, the flight was very similar to anything you'd experience in domestic first in the US, if not ever so slightly better. As we began our approach, I had a quick check of the bare bones but clean bathrooms, and then we began our final descent. The only hiccup was the missing meal, but it was an easy exchange. The crew were friendly and energetic, but not too energetic for this morning flight. The lounge was fantastic and the seat very comfortable. I'm going to bring Aeromexico up to a 6. A quick side note. As of January 2026, I'm going back to a truly chronological posting order of my flights and hotels combined. That means that sometimes there won't be a single hotel video in a month, February for example. Or sometimes the majority of the videos in a month, April for example, will be resorts. This will just help me streamline my own mental timeline as I juggle a new project that I'm working on for 2027. and welcome to Mexico City. A wonderful city with what I'm now officially designating as my second least favorite airport terminal in the world. I'll explain it in the next video. So I really do hope that you enjoyed this quick trip report today. If you did, please be sure to click the like button and subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss my twice weekly videos. I'll see you next time from here in Mexico City as I roam around looking for a seat. As always, thanks for watching until the end.